I've had a lot of agents come to me over the last several months and ask me about making phone calls, working leads, and how I do it and how the phone conversation goes, and the success that I've had and maybe they can have doing so. So today I wanted to shoot just a quick little video and explain to you what I do and how I do it. Not to say that my way is the only way or that my way is even the best way, but I'm hoping that you can pick a few pointers out today that will help you as you work in your business. I have been in the insurance industry for over 20 years, and I have worked leads for a lot of years now. I worked in the life insurance industry, mortgage protection insurance industry, and now the Medicare industry, and I've had to make calls off of lead cards for many years. And so today I just wanted to share with you some of the experience that I have gained to hopefully help you as you build your business. The first thing I'd like to say when you get ready to make phone calls is to sit up straight, sit up tall, and be prepared. Whenever you slouch or whenever you're lazy as you're making your phone calls, it comes through in your voice. And we always want to sound professional when we're on the phone, and we want people to know that it really matters what we're talking about. The second thing I would like to say is do not, I repeat, do not leave a message when you call a lead the first time. I have talked to far too many agents who will make a phone call on a lead and leave a message and never hear back. For the most part, when you leave a message on a lead, you can go ahead and take that lead, wad it up, and throw it in the garbage can, because 99.9% of the time, they are not going to call you back. Furthermore, what you've just done is you've put that client in a position now where they recognize your number and what you're calling about, so they can block the call or just ignore it when you call back. My recommendation is to call the lead multiple times at different times of the day. So if you're one that wants to make calls first thing in the morning, again, I never recommend making phone calls before 9 o'clock a.m. But if you call at 9 a.m. and don't get an answer, just hang up. Try back again at lunchtime, or maybe try in the evening to get them. If after 3 or 4 phone calls I'm not getting an answer, I will switch lines that I'm calling from. So initially I may be calling from my cell phone. If I don't get the answer, I'll just switch to my office line and call from my office to give a different number. Because again, a lead that is mailed in, all that is an opportunity to talk to someone. It's not a guaranteed sale, and as an agent, all we're looking for, or should be looking for, is that opportunity to talk to someone. So put yourself in the best position and call from a different number. If after 6 or 7 tries I have not reached someone, at that point, sure, leave a message. I would do the same. But I would never recommend an agent leave a message on a machine after 1 to 3 calls. You're just wasting your time by doing that. Next, I would say that whenever the prospect picks up the telephone, we know their name, their address, their phone number, and depending on the type of lead you're working, if they have Medicare and or Medicaid, and their age. Whenever you call, use the client's first name. It's a little more personable, and you typically can get them to answer better. So for example, when I call, I would not say, "Hi, could I please speak with Miss Jones?" Whenever I call, the phone's picked up, I'll say, "Hi, Mary, how are you today?" And you catch them sometimes by surprise, because if you've made phone calls before, you know that sometimes when you call and you ask for Miss Jones just answered the phone, but Miss Jones is going to say she's not here right now. So what we want to do is catch them. Not saying we're trying to be tricky at all, but there are tricks to this game. We want to open a conversation with them. So call them by their first name to strike up the conversation. Because again, you will never get in the door without that conversation. So use people's first name when you address them when they pick up the phone. The next thing I would say is be sure to speak slowly and softly. Again, when you get in a hurry and you talk too fast, the first thing people think of is telemarketer. I am not a telemarketer. Neither are you. You are a trained professional salesperson. And what you want to do is convey that when you talk to them. So you have to make the phone call like you don't need the appointment, but in your mind, you know you need the appointment to make the sale. So talk slowly, lower your volume just a little bit and talk softly, and let them know that it's a friendly conversation. But at the same time, be quick about the purpose. Let that person know that you are not a telemarketer and that you are not cold calling them, that you are simply calling because you received in the mail a little card that they had filled out and mailed back into you. Automatically, most people are going to ask, what card? Then it's up to you to describe the card that they had filled out and mailed back in, whether that be final expense, Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage, turning 65, whatever that lead piece is you're working, describe it to them and say, do you recall sending that back in? Most of the time they will say, yes, I do remember that, but I just thought that you'd put something in the mail. And then you can laugh about it and say, well, I wish it were that easy, but if it were, I wouldn't be needed. And again, just try to get the conversation going. Ultimately, keep in mind, you're not trying to sell anything over the phone. Your objective from the phone call is to get the appointment. Get the appointment. If you find yourself getting nervous, which I still do, I do shooting these videos, just remind yourself to slow down. I've had one gentleman say, chew gum when you're making phone calls. That if you'll chew a piece of gum, that'll slow you down. But do what it takes to be at a reasonable pace when you're talking. But again, get the appointment. Don't try to sell it over the phone. Next thing I would say is ask enough questions to make sure that it's a worthwhile appointment. If you're going out on appointments that are not qualified, then you have just wasted time, wasted gas, and wasted energy because it will hurt your morale. So make sure that that person is potentially qualified for what you're doing. If you're selling final expense, there may not be a lot of questions to ask because, as you know, here at Tidewater, we have products for anybody, for those that are very healthy to those that are very unhealthy. When it comes to working Medicare leads, you need to be sure that that individual does not have end-stage renal disease. If you're looking at Medicare supplements, you maybe need to ask a question or two about their health. Me personally, if it's a med supp lead, I'm going to just get the appointment and I'll find out about their health when I get there because you may be able to turn them from a supplement to an advantage plan. Again, we're looking for opportunities. And keep in mind that just because you have an appointment and you don't sell it does not mean it was a bad lead. That lead, even though they may not purchase from you, if you go in and you're a professional and you do a good job for them, people are more than willing to take your card and to pass it on. They're more than willing to give you a name and number of someone to contact. People like a professional agent, and it's rare that I go into a situation where people say, yes, I have a good agent that's taking care of me. Because if they did, in all likelihood, they would not have mailed the card back in. Next, I would say is don't book the appointment too far out. If you're making calls to book appointments, I would not book those appointments more than 1 to 3 days out because people forget, things happen. It's frustrating to go out on an appointment and they forgot about you. It's frustrating to go out and be no-showed. So for the best time to make phone calls, I find that Mondays are good call days. Fridays being the worst call days unless you're going to be working Saturdays. Because if you call on Friday and book appointments for Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of the next week, you've given too wide a span of time and things happen. So what I would encourage you to do is to call on Mondays for Tuesday, Wednesday appointments, and maybe Wednesday afternoon, make some more phone calls, even Thursday morning for Thursday afternoon, Friday appointments. because the call days are just as important and just as vital as the selling days are, because we have to be able to get in front of those people. So again, don't book too far out. The next thing I would say is keep good records. You know, you talk to people, they say, we've got sickness in the home, this is not a good time, call me back in a week. Call them back. You would be surprised how many times I have taken recycled leads and people say, I have talked to someone and they were supposed to call me back and never called me back. Don't sell yourself short. Follow up, keep good records. And as long as you're willing to do that, a lead never gets too old to call unless it's outside of that sales season. So you can continue to call and continue to work those leads and follow up. People appreciate it when you follow up if they've asked you to call back. So again, these are just some tips that I wanted to share with you as you're making phone calls, because I know that this is the time of year when many agents will ask, how do I get in front of people? What can I do to stay productive? This is a good time to purchase leads. And at Tidewater here, we have good lead vendors that can get you the leads that you need. If you have any questions, give me a call. Thank you for your time today. And as always, I wish you the best.